Hey there, Smite fans, Aggro here. Look, every single year, the SPL just keeps getting better. Season 7 was incredible, and in Season 8, I'm sure our players are going to take their game to the next level. But in order to do that, they're going to need the best gear they can get their hands on. And that's why I'm so excited to announce the title sponsor for Season 8 of the SPL is Alienware. Yeah, that Alienware. Our players are getting the best of the best in computer gaming. These Alienware Aurora Ryzen Edition PC setups are insane. Not only will these be the PCs that the players will compete on once we are in studio, but Alienware is also providing one for each player at their home setup to make sure their practice is as good as possible. Now let's get down to brass tacks. The specs on these Alienware Aurora Ryzen Edition desktops are amazing. An AMD Ryzen 9 16-core processor.
That's a lot of cores.
That's plenty of processing power.
That's a lot of cores.
Plenty of cores.
If you want to stream, this is the way to go.
I know a lot about my cores, so. I mean, Pilates, right?
64 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM.
What? Is that true?
That is true.
I mean, this thing has 64 gigs of DDR4 RAM.
Which you can do literally anything with.
Literally anything.
I've never had more than 16 gigs.
That's quadruple the amount I have at home.
And one of the hottest commodities in the PC world, an NVIDIA GeForce 3090 graphics card.
Insane how much better this is than what I have.
The best graphics you really need, Ultra, of course.
Content's gonna look good.
And what's the point of all the power if you can't see it? Players will also be using the Alienware 25-inch 240Hz monitors.
Man, when I load into scrims with this bad boy, I'm gonna feed so hard. And it's gonna be in perfect picture quality.
We are so excited to be partnering with Alienware for Season 8 of the Smite Pro League. And the best part is, this VIP treatment, it's not just for the pros. You too can get the best possible Smite experience. Just go to smitegame.com/Alienware and use code SMITEAW to get special discounts on some of Alienware's best products. Thanks again to Alienware. Make sure you're following them on Twitter and Instagram. That's at Alienware on both platforms. And you can join their community at alienwarearena.com.
And you're telling me an alien wore this?
Hello and welcome everyone to the SPL Season 8 Phase 2 Week 6 Day 3. There we go. Got all the numbers right as we jump into it. All powered by Alienware, and you just saw the video, but I, of course, will say once again thank you to Alienware for coming on board as our title sponsor. If you're curious about what our pros are playing on and what PCs you want to be able to pick up when you go to smitegame.com/Alienware, you can go get the Aurora R10 Ryzen desktop. That's the PCs that they're playing on, and they're using a 25-inch 240Hz gaming monitor to make sure that everything plays well and looks good while doing it. And of course, you can use code SMITEAW on discount, or on checkout for discount. There's the words. They get mixed up sometimes, and you'll be able to game just like the pros, or you can also get yourself a nice nifty laptop that I use every single, not only desk, but media day. Either way, thanks again to Alienware, and of course, thank you for tuning in, and thanks to Mifflin for hanging out with me here for at least the first set, as we get to watch some fun SPL today. The Dragons taking on the Valkyries. They're going to try to continue this kind of rise up in the standings that they've been on, as well as the Leviathans maybe trying to bounce back after getting whooped. Whooped is a strong term, maybe wrong. After getting slightly beaten by the Dragons on Thursday.
Yeah, I think today is going to be a really exciting day, but also has the potential to be one of the quicker days so far this week and maybe in the last couple
Yesterday
of
was
weeks.
Fast.
Yesterday was fast, wasn't it?
I mean, fast.
Who expected that to happen to the Bolts? Wait, we're supposed to talk about today. Do your thing, Gore. I'm sorry.
Well, as you can see, the Scarabs goofed up yesterday. It was going to be an 8-7, 6-5, 4, 3-2-1 if they had gotten the win versus the Titans. They didn't, and so it stops at the 4. Losses also would have been amazing because it would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Unfortunately, again, all of that fell apart. Scarabs lost their set. Then the Dragons, though, are now in a position, Mifflin, where they are fighting to tie up with the Camelot Kings, trying to take over that second place spot. The Valkyries are fighting to get just a second
fighting
win.
for their lives.
Yes.
Yeah, the Jade Dragons are fighting for seeding, and the Valkyries are
Trying
fighting
to get
tooth
to
and nail
playoffs.
just to get some air inside of their lungs, right? And I'm super excited for this set. I'm not going to mince words, though. I think it's pretty clear who the favorite inside of this set is going to be, and it's the one behind me,
Valkyries.
not the one behind Gore.
No. Look, we were talking about it beforehand, and again, like you said, not to mince words, we've been saying, oh, well, what if there was just a segment where it was here's just a fact that
just the facts.
it's just going to be very uncomfortable for someone to hear, and this one would have been the fact that the Dragons have over double the kills of the Valkyries in this phase, which is maybe that speaks more of the Dragons than it does the Valkyries. Maybe it speaks more of the Valkyries than it does the Dragons. Either way, one team's finding a lot of kills, but the Valkyries have been on the up and up as of late. But the problem is like you said, they're going up against a very difficult team, and the Dragons, they have been very successful. They've been getting a lot of kills, and it's an interesting conversation because we've looked at the duo lane for a year and a half because they've been playing together. We looked at the solo, the jungle for a year and a half. It's Hurricane, who was on E United last year, not a crazy successful team, but he still looked good doing it. Came into this team, and a lot of people, let's face it, if the Dragons face trouble, I guarantee you open up the follow-up, the threads to it, everyone's complaining about Hurry for some reason. But also, when you look at the successes, Hurry is behind a lot of it. He does so much for this squad.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying in the past, oh, Hurry win. Yeah, he's the one-trick Yanis, right? Let's just ban that out. Let's go ahead and get rid of it. Not only does he have 7 gods, I think he's starting to add another god to that god pool that is at the same tier as his Yanis. And I'm talking about Hurrywin's Morgan Le Fay. Somehow, he is piloting this god more aggressively than just about anyone else. I mean, at times it looks like when he's playing Morgan Le Fay, he's just a frontliner. He's just walking in, utilizing the Sigil Mastery, the lifesteal from the ultimate, to just sit inside the backline and be nigh unstoppable. It's so hard to deal with his usage of Dragonflight as well. And now that we're talking about dragons, maybe I talk about the Tiamat that we're seeing on the screen. He's also got that inside the back pocket. Every single one of the mid laners has been so successful on this pick because of how strong she is relative to the rest of the mage pool. And, well, Hurrywin, no stranger to playing the meta, can certainly play anything that is he gets his hands on.
If only we had pivoted your god topic discussion
Feels
just
so
slightly.
bad. Feels so
the
bad.
Tiamat first into the Morgan Le Fay. Either way, but it's good because those are most of what we got to see the last time the Dragons played. The Leviathans did not ban the Tiamat, I believe, 2 games in a row. The one game that the Dragons get it, well, guess who wins? Tiamat. The one game the Leviathans get it, guess who wins? Tiamat. Third game, Tiamat's out of there, and guess who wins? It's Hurricane Morgan Le Fay, the one that you were talking about. Incredible performance for them just a couple of days ago. We'll see what they're able to do today, but first, we get to talk to the Dragons themselves. We got Hurricane standing by, and Hurry, since we're on the topic, this actually pivots perfectly. I wrote this question 4 hours ago. Where do you stand on Tiamat versus Morgan Le Fay? Who's better?
I think, as you can see, it's reflected by most teams. People aren't really sure about that yet. They kind of do different things, and they're just both pretty strong at doing those different things. So I think most people will agree. It just kind of depends on the situation, depends on the player.
And you'll take your hands on whichever one you can get. It doesn't necessarily matter. If there one's available, you're going for it.
Yeah, they're both fun, so.
Well, you guys, fun. Yeah, you guys are on a 4-game or a 4-set win streak, I should say, as of right now, and you're really starting to put the pressure on to go towards second place. What is the team's focus for the rest of this phase? Are you guys looking at playoffs, or are you more in the here and now?
I mean, we haven't even really gone over anything like standings or anything like that. As a team, we're just trying to be in our best form possible. A bit of a cliche answer, but, hoping to show up at tournament time.
Well, I like it because focused in on yourselves, making sure that you're the best form possible. Like you said, standings don't matter as long as you're strong enough. You can come in 4th seed, still win the whole thing. Of course, I'm excited to see what you have to offer today. We'll see if you can get that Tiamat or that Morgan Le Fay. Either way, good luck in your games, man. Thanks for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
But they're going to be going up against a team, Mifflin, as we highlighted, that is not necessarily one that we expect the Dragons to struggle against. I feel bad saying it on the desk, but come on, they're 1-8. They've won a single set, and it was up against the Scarabs with a sub coached in. They've been struggling. We have to talk about the Valkyries here, and specifically because it's who Herwin's going to be going up against. It is going to be Zeros, and that makes things a little more interesting to me because Zeros hasn't been playing just straight up the meta mages.
No, that's never really been Zeros' style. You know, Gormaz, you're the only co-caster, co-desk analyst that has ever forced me into the good cop position. But I'm gonna take it here.
Oh, I'll be mean.
I think the Valhalla Valkyries legitimately are looking better right now than they have at any other point throughout the year. They're really starting to hit their stride, and a lot of it is around Zeros. Very often, and in the past, we've described Zeros as a selfish player, if you would. He's almost always looking out for the KD, almost reminiscent of that OG MLC stealth style, or even like Season 3 adapting, where it's, all right, I'm not going to go into this fight if I think it's going to cost me my life. And that has generally been the ideology that Zeros has subscribed to. But very recently, I have noticed a shift in that he is very willing to take fights, take plays, take engagements where he is putting himself at significant risk if he thinks that it's going to help out the rest of his team. Now he's willing to jump in as that Raijin. He's gonna flicker aggressively on these Merlin picks, and that shift up in style has really helped out this squad a lot come team fight phase of these matches. And, well, that's the phase of the game that the Valhalla Valkyries have been consistently looking for. We said that they've been struggling to find their identity. I think they've found it now, just whether or not they can execute on it. And recently, they've been dragging these games just a little bit longer, a little bit further into their comfort zone.
Yeah, there's tons of discussions to be had when you talk like Dragons, Warriors, Bolts. I think were the teams we saw their highlights against just there as to who's going, like where they are, like based on standings, performance, things like that, and consistency. But there is one thing you can say about every single one of them, and that is that the Valkyries, as you have mentioned, have gotten better and better each
significantly
set. And when they played against the Warriors, while they still lost, pushed them a lot harder and made them play at a different level than we've gotten to see the Warriors play at more recently, and keeping them on their toes. Are they able to do that today, I think, is the big question. You don't even have to answer it. They have to answer that more than anything. And does it happen, this is the one that's actually for you, does it happen in picks and bans? Or does it happen on the battleground? Like, obviously both matter a lot, but does the draft matter more than normal just because of the way that we know the Dragons like to play?
At times, I would say that the Valkyries have lost games just off of their P's and B's. They have got a very unique priority order in P's and B's. I mean, they're the only team so far in Season 8 to have first picked Sun Wukong. Kind of wild that that's happening still, but it works out for them. So I think, if anything, if I had to put more emphasis on one facet of the game, I'd likely say that it's play on field. The Valkyries aren't playing the same game of SMITE that everyone else is. They're not looking at all the exact same picks. It's just executing on what they want to do, and very recently, it isn't just Zeros that's going to pose an issue to the Jade Dragons. Remember back to earlier this week, didn't Ducky solo Nika 3 times?
Yeah.
That's incredibly impressive.
He was able to showcase and kind of flex those solo muscles. We don't get to see it too often from Ducky, but like you said, he not only did it 3 times, but he was able to keep the team afloat. I mean, there were a lot of games, he was 7-2 on Osiris in one of those, so fine, okay, definitely a difficult opponent, but so is Nika, so this is going to be a fun one to watch in the solo lane. It also creates, once again, that mid lane conversation, as you can imagine. Valkyries, because they are behind me, are the first pick for this first game.
Is that true? Is that like actual correlation?
Yeah.
Huh.
Every time.
Wow. I work here.
That's how I always know before we get into the picks and bans. I just see whatever's on my single, whoever's standing behind me, those colors is what matters the most. And that means I feel bad saying it again. It's just factual though. They've lost every game they've played on Tiamat, Mifflin.
What?
The Valkyries have lost every Tiamat game they've had. I think it's 5, and they are 0 for 5 for that. And so the Dragons, I feel like, are in a win-win scenario where you either let them pick Tiamat and you get Morgan Le Fay, or they don't pick Tiamat because they know they've been losing with it, and you get Tiamat.
Well, if they ban Tiamat, it likely forces the Jade Dragons to ban the Morgan Le Fay, so could be one way to address the P's and B's inside of this one. I'm excited to see how it pans out. I want to see the Valhalla Valkyries again, though, inside of picks and bans themselves, prioritize Johnny a little bit, because in recent weeks, I don't think he's been really comfortable in the picks that he's gotten. And I don't want to see Apollo Jungle. Let me just get ahead of that one. I don't want to see it ever again.
You know what? I've got a unique... So, a while ago, someone had asked the highest number of kills without a death in the SBL. So I believe it was Frostiak who had gone like 20-0 or 21-0, something like that. I'd have to go double check to make sure I'm right on that.
Only 21-0.
Only, yeah.
I mean, that's still a ton.
Yeah,
it's
a ton of kills with 0 deaths, and in the SBL, that's kind of insane to be able to pick
You're
up.
right.
And then, of course, the natural follow-up. Well, what about no kills but high deaths?
No way.
Well, I'm going to tell you. So first, no, I'm not. I'm only talking SBL right now, so we're going to exclude any, casters versus pros games or anyone like that. But the highest, I believe, was like 0-20. It was like a really, really bad like Tricks Tank game or something.
Oh,
no. There was an 0-20 and 0-13, and then some 0-12s. There was one 0-12 in the SBL prior to Johnny.
Oh, no.
And Johnny joined that list as like tied for number 3 or number 2 as 0-12 during that last game. We'll see if he can have a better performance and no Apollo Jungle as Mifflin called for it.
I'm sure he's going to have a better performance this time around. And
it's almost impossible not to.
1 kill. That's all we're aiming for. Bans already starting to roll their way through. Tiamat is being addressed by the Valkyries. Maybe realizing that they don't love that pick for themselves. Does put the Jade Dragons in a position where they need to either address the Morgan Le Fay or, understandably, just give it up. If they don't ban it here, I think it's a pretty clear shot that the Valkyries are likely going to take Le Fay for themselves.
Definitely one of the strongest picks. They also ban out the Emoja, the Odin. That has been a notable ban as of late. Artemis still available. Osiris, Gilgamesh are the bans from the Jade Dragons. So Morgan Le Fay, Artemis come to mind almost immediately as the top 2 picks. And so one of them, maybe both of them, are going to make it through, and it is going to be both Dragons, who are actually, I would argue, maybe the better Fenrir's in the league, considering they've got 3 players that play them. They're tied up there maybe with the Bolts, who like to flex that around. Ban out the Fenrir, a known pick for Johnny, but they do put the onus, Morgan Le Fay or Artemis, onto the Valkyries, and they value the Artemis.
I gotta agree with this pick. Artemis is just so valuable right now. Her damage output, her scaling into the late game, her survivability in lane, and that's a really fun thing to say nowadays. Not often in Smite's history.
You almost never get to talk about Artemis.
Insofar as survivability or even in general, right? But now that Artemis has got an upgrade to the Vengeful Assault, she's been upgraded to the Caledonian Boar, she is a very consistent, high damage output, great CC extension god. She just fits into the majority of your drafts. She's a great plug-and-play. So I love the Valks going for it immediately, and it does put a lot of weight on Emelito's shoulders when you have what I would consider to be likely the strongest pick in Smite right now, maybe barring Tiamat. You kind of got to perform on it.
That's the key issue here. And I think it's a fun reminder. You want to harken back to some real old games. It's only in Season 8 still, though. But the first game that the Dragons lost to the Scarabs this year was because Panda Cat picked Artemis. Did not have a good performance then. That's how the tables can change in just a few patches. As they pick up Morgan Le Fay, as we had just talked about, Hurry likes both of those picks, so I'm sure he is not unhappy being able to pick her up. Ymir locked in alongside that. Great CC, but they are met with a Serket and a Fafnir locked in by the Valkyries.
Yeah, this is a different look for Johnny, and that's something we've been saying recently about these facilitator picks he's been going for. Serket has great jungle clear. She should be able to establish the pace early on, should be able to outpace just about anyone that Samper Soccer goes for, insofar as farm, should be the one in the jungle to hit level 5 first. So I think that he's got decent matchup already into the Ymir, Immobile Guardian, great true damage from Serket's ultimate, good lockdown potential as well if he decides to gank the duo lane Fafnir, and Artemis can extend your CC a ton. So I like the matchup already for him, but I'm more so concerned with how Johnny's going to approach the late game with this Serket pick. Is he going to go that tanky path, or is he going to go for that one-shot potential? I'm very curious to see it. I'd like him to go a little bit more bruiser, because generally that's when Serket has her her real success when she can act as that initiator. And speaking of initiators, Jade Dragons picked one up for themselves with Hun bots.
Hun bots, you can see there, a 38% win rate in the league, and that's just for this phase. Over the year, 60% win rate for Sam. He's only played a few games with it, but is going to be a prominent jungle. I was preparing all sorts of math, and I'll keep it in the back pocket in case that Danzaburo that was hovered does get locked in. But the Dragons opt to wait for their Hunter a little while. Sun Wukong gets banned. Is it going to be the Valkyrie special, the Wukong Jingwei bans?
Can't happen.
And the bottom two, man. It has been the most common two bottom bans against the Valkyries in all of my memory, just because that's been what's hit with them now. They're going to change it to a Raijin. Zeros has been looking really good on that pick.
Yeah, luckily the Valkyries dodged the Jingwei Sun Wukong special this time around because
they have an Artemis. Duh.
Their Artemis instead. Mid laners going to get a little bit of pressure tossed their way, and Raijin is a great selection in that ban column. Zeros has been loving that pick. We were just talking about it earlier on. He's been very aggressive on it as well. I think it would have been a good counter matchup.
What?
LaFey.
Okay. Hold on, I got it.
Okay, go ahead.
They're playing the Valkyries and Panda Cat. This is no.
You can't just say
no,
that.
no. Here's what I'm gonna tell you. This is what Panda Cat himself would say, because Vin admitted this about the Vulcan. They said, we know that we are favored to win. We lock in Vulcan because then we can give them a game. That's what they're doing right here. I know I can't just say
it's a special
that,
gift to
but
you.
I'm just quoting specifically what Panda Cat would say here.
Panda
That's
Cat
not my
wouldn't say that.
thoughts. That's Panda
Breznov
Cat.
would say that. Panda Cat wouldn't.
Yeah, you're right. Breznov. And Breznov is brave enough to tweet Smack Talk before the set and not just after.
What a callback. All right, Baba Yaga locked in on the other side. Raijin removed from the
Get me
table.
out of this hole I just dug, dude.
Look, great stacking potential, good scaling, again, is going to fit into that style that the Valkyries have elected to go for recently in that they love the late-game teamfight. This late-game teamfight draft now, rounded up by the Kakon in that last pick slot, is incredibly strong. The initiation is there. Surcat, Fafnir, and Kakon all bring bits and pieces to it, maybe lacking a bit insofar as AoE CC, barring Kakullen's ultimate, but that doesn't really burn beads too effectively. So it's going to leave a lot on the table for Caledonian Boar to do. I think that that is going to be the tool that is most consistently burning the beads on the other side, inside of the team fight, and that leaves Baba Yaga to fend for herself in the back line, but damage output's great, self-peel's also great. I love this Valks draft.
I have a question for you then. Artemis versus Scotty. The Hunter has taken the world by storm versus someone who's literally not been played this year. How does that matchup go, given Emilito and Panda Cat's history?
It's a very volatile matchup in that I would think that Artemis is more likely to pull the lead, but if Artemis does fall behind, Scotty's gonna bully you. I mean, Calder just chunks, can essentially teleport. You've got the same amount of movement speed stem to just keep up with that vengeful assault. Scotty using the permafrost. It really comes down to which one of these hunters is going to pull a lead early on. If you had to put a bet on just the god, I'd say that the Artemis likely will be the one benefiting from that lead, as she is so incredibly strong right now in Season 8. But if we have to bet on the players, I'm going the one that's ego locking in a Scotty, if you would.
That's allegedly. Look,
allegedly.
Like, I'm not mentally attuned.
Are we TMZ?
With Panda
Just putting words.
Hold on. I gotta get a whole mental reset. That one threw me off. Athena is locked in last there with the Ymir online. That means I'm thinking Athena fine okay here solo, which is something that we talked a lot about at the beginning of Season 8 and saw a little bit of, and then saw a whole lot of not anymore. She just disappeared, whether it was from the couple of nerfs that hit her, but admittedly she's still got taunt. That's one of the best abilities in the game for setup.
Yeah, Taunt also does damage now, and Reach also got a buff.
Hey, that's
and
good.
Defender of Olympus is a great global to get your soul laner involved early on. I would be doing us a disservice if I didn't bring up that Ymir does have flex potential a little bit into the soul lane. You don't see it too often. It's been a long time.
Who's going to take it away from Mike? You think FidoK wins that argument?
Mike, here's the thing. I'm the better Ymir. No, I don't think that's how I would say it.
And he would be wrong, probably.
But maybe Mike's the better Athena. You never know.
That's a good argument.
Maybe Mike's better at both. Oh, no.
Oh, no. Well, it would kind of make sense. He plays Guardians for a living, dude. He's been doing it for a little while as well. The Dragons, you had kind of mentioned, they've got some strengths in there. Scotty, if she gets ahead, can be strong. But you favored the Valkyries draft. Let's see what they're able to do with it here in game number 1 as we go down to J-Mac and Aggro for the cast.
Well, thank you, Gore and Mifflin. Hopping right into here, and it's the Ice Lane coming out of the Dragons for the Scotty Ymir partnering up. So we'll be PBM onto that one. J-Mac and Aggro here, joined by Doug for game number 1. I'm not looking forward to being slowed to eternity in this duo lane.
No, this is a difficult one to play against. It has potential to get a lot of kills, and Artemis, very good when she gets to the team fighting phase, but in lane, susceptible to things like getting run down, and maybe something like Scotty Ymir can get it done. Scotty lets you dive the tower with the help of Kaldir. You can get a lead for Panda Cat, which is oftentimes the plan, or was oftentimes the plan for the Jade Dragons whenever they were playing really well during Phase 1 playoffs. That was a lot of their game plan, was getting Panda Cat ahead. Maybe they're going back to that sort of style here with this sort of draft.
Fairly standard starts coming out of all the players, aside from 2 little things I'm noticing here on the side of PBM. One, he's gone for the Tier 1 into his mail, but he's also going for the new Bracer item.
Bracer of Radiance. Wow, good eye. I would not have expected that necessarily coming out of Mike, but goes with the Bracer and drops it immediately in the lane. It's on cooldown at the very least, so we know that now they can sit around that, get some extra movement speed, get some extra power, and all of a sudden you should get some easy lane clear coming out of it. It's probably not too bad in situations just like that, where they can use it to guarantee they win the wave clear and be able to chase you down potentially with the extra movement speed.
I never realized how long. I know in the tooltip it says it lasts for up to 90 seconds, so it's basically a 10-second cooldown if you get it to stay there, but I never realized how long that really lasted until you get a full duration of it. And they will be able to keep that one in the lane for as long as possible for it. Emil, and I have the shell burned off of Raffer because he engaged there by PBM and Panda Cat.
Already kind of dominating in this laning phase, but you think that once Raffer rotates out, that's going to be where the danger really starts for Emilito. But a pretty defensive relic choice from him. He goes for the shell right away, and it's already been used because of that little skirmish right on that last wave. So now Emilito in some trouble. If Mike can hit level 3, walk up wall, Raffer needs to hit a hammer in order to stop that from happening. And if not, then you're going to lose some pressure over here. But using that Bracer when he did, that'll actually come up in time to be placed once again right at purple. So now you've got a zone by purple buff where you're going to end up doing more damage. I think that this seems pretty good to me. I don't know if it's the best thing you can be doing with your support relic, but it seems strong.
So far, it's gotten them some nice pressure in the lane, though they aren't able to make an aggressive play towards the purple buff. Emil and Raffer will immediately rotate out of lane to go ahead and take that one for themselves. Lose out on a couple of minions to the tower as far as the gold goes, but they'll save a few of them. Meanwhile, onto the back end of it, the Dragons go by, grab their purple buff. Over into the solo lane, we saw a lot of action from Ducky last time on the Valkyries. Got a couple of solo kills onto Nika. Not so fortunate this time going up against Final K. A little harder to kill that Athena.
Little bit. Definitely a little bit more respectful in the early stages. Level 2, level 3, that's where a lot of these solo lane solo kills happen. Against Athena, she's going to know that she has to give up priority as it is, so it's not going to be a huge contest. I like the Athena pickup here for Final K. I think Athena solo probably pretty underplayed right now in the meta. If you can, you still get to go Fighter's Mask. It gives you a ton of magical power right off the rip. Then you can pretty easily go into some pretty good starter items for her. Bumba's Hammer is still good, though obviously not as good as it used to be. Looks like it's going to be a Hero's Axe or a Sundering Axe. That could be good as well.
Johnny gonna take a lot of damage. Sam leaping aggressively on top of Zeros. He's gonna get the house immediately after. Johnny gets taunted back in by Final K, and Hurry Win picks up first blood, but Zeros with a nice return kill with the home sweet home.
Yeah, good job by Zeros to at least get that damage off, but I like the play. I mean, Final K had just backed, level 5, plenty strong, buys his Warrior's Axe, and then instantly gets to affect the fight near the mid lane. Johnny just unable to really get in there and support Zeros after they were jumping in on him until it was too late. And by the time he came in and committed to trying to save his mid laner, it was he that ended up falling.
Well, Raffer and Emil will push the wave up towards the tower. It looks like PBM will at least assist in a little while longer with helping onto the backside. They grab that green buff to put that one around his waist, and it's something that got added onto the map, and it just felt like it wasn't a major priority. It's so far back on the map that it doesn't seem like many teams really look towards, guys, we've got, it's not like a speed buff where like, guys, I gotta get my speed buff. It's,
right.
All right, guys, green buff's up. Let's just grab it on the way out, I guess.
Free buff for the support, though. I mean, it's good farm for them. They can solo it, which feels really good as a support, that you don't always need the help, though. Of course, appreciated and more efficient that way. But the thing about it is that it's actually good. The stats on green are really strong. You know, getting that extra HP, getting that extra HP per protections that you have as well feels really good and keeps it more localized to support so that it's not being contested by mid laners who just want to be tankier or something of that nature. If your red buff gets stolen as a mid laner, having to take green buff obviously worse for you, but still better than getting nothing. And of course your support gets hosed, but they're the supports, that's their job. So I don't feel too bad about it. And you know I'm picking up that green buff if my red got invaded. Here's the thing, J-Mac. If they wanted their own green buff, my support in this instance, they should have defended my red better. And then they could have had their buff. And it teaches them a lesson, and that's important.
Okay, but what if they were dead in the process?
Why'd they die?
Trying to save you in the mid lane from dying.
All right, well, they didn't need to. I was fine.
Not always the case for it, but to the Scorpion, Jade Dragons will make sure to drop that one down on the Gold Fury side and get a little bit of experience for himself. Raffer rotating up aggressively. PBM spots him out. He's on a wall just to catch him out. Luckily for Raffer, he does have a leap on that Fafnir, so he'll get around the wall no problem. A couple of gods under here, or actually more than anything, just one god will really struggle against that Ymir Emilitu on the Artemis, the only one who can't get over that wall by themselves.
And that is going to be a focal point when it comes to the team fighting phase. I guarantee it. Mike is going to be looking for good walls that can end up affecting Emilito in particular. When you lock in that Artemis, oftentimes the caged animal is the most dangerous. And Artemis certainly fits that bill. Can end up being pretty scary if she just gets a big ultimate because she got walled and everyone surges forward in order to try and punish her.
Panda Cat looking for a solo kill onto Emil, has Calder chasing him out, needs one more auto or one more basic after. Nice Caledonian Boar will keep Emil alive for the time being, and he'll kill Calder off, but the piercing code from Panda is good over the wall, and that'll strike the first kill for the duo laner.
Bit annoying, I'm sure, for Panda Cat that he ends up having to use the beads because Emilito's board gets in his way, decides to use it before instead of just dropping that kill onto Emilito. And I like that call, especially with the understanding that purple buff is up. Getting the kill and purple, probably worth your purification beads. And even though Johnny's on Cirquet, a god that punishes you pretty well for not having those beads, I think that if the game plan for the Jade Dragons is to give Panda Cat this matchup and just let him run wild in it, then trading aggressively for your beads is probably worth your time.
Speaking of Johnny, he had about a half-level lead over Sanford Soccer, so getting a little bit more farm on the map. Zeros as well here into the mid lane. Been solo farming for a majority of the game. Haven't seen Raffer over here too often aside to mostly just support him in this instance. Throw a hammer out there. Picked up the purification beads off Hurrywin in that last little mid lane skirmish.
That's not a bad idea. If you can't save your Hunter, might as well try and get you some pressure in the mid lane. And look at where Johnny is. As soon as Panda Cat comes back to lane, he's going to try and punish Panda for using those beads on the dive in order to kill Emilito. But I like Sam's rotation. I like Hurrywin's rotation. Jade Dragon's moving very fluidly in order to defend.
Johnny will stick around this side of the map. Zeros is on the way as well. Ultimate out of Johnny on top of Hurrywin. We'll get the ultimate out. Do a little bit of return damage. Sanford Soccer, though, not going to get a big ultimate. Will get the beads away from Johnny. Still trying to chase him down. Emil's the one who falls to the back line off a rotation from FineOK with his own ultimate. Sam getting low, but Panda finds Johnny. Finally takes him down. Raffer, no leap, nowhere to go. Double kill for Panda Cat. Wall just off the mark by PBM. Zeros running for his life. He gets taunted back in by FineOK. Loses on the beads, and FineOK will take that tower to make sure they can take him down.
A 4-for-0 for the Jade Dragons, and using that global pressure coming from this Athena, and when you're not used to playing against it, you tend to forget about it. I know I did. It looked like a pretty good fight for the Valkyries. Hurrywin gets caught in mid on the rotation over. Johnny all-ins him, tosses him to zeros. Let's get that Baba Yaga damage. But 9 minutes in, Baba Yaga damage is not nearly as scary as what you can expect coming from it later. Definitely more of a scaling god. Zeros did not do nearly as much damage as the Valkyries needed. And I don't even think he missed a whole lot. It was really just that that's not where his god is going to be strong in those types of moments. And FineOK's ultimate ends up being really impactful. Mike was not there for a vast majority of that fight, but loved the angle that he came in with. And instantly dropping the ultimate, knowing that Zeros is going to be in his ultimate, applying that frostbite, so he's dealing some less damage and getting some good damage off on his own.
Ducky may be in a little bit of trouble, but Sam's ult
Nice
is
double
not
push.
up, and neither is Fine. Okay, Ducky gets a big push and a Deathbane into the Cobra's Kiss. Forces the leap out of Sam. He's got a Fear No Evil just to help for a little bit. The poison not going to be enough to take him out, and now it's Johnny on the run. Here comes PBM and Hurrywin, but they've got their sights set towards Ducky as he's the closest one. Will be pushed against the wall, frozen, and taken down.
So close to killing off Sam, and a great play by Ducky in order to try and set up that turnaround kill for Johnny. But Johnny going this hybrid build, you know, had just a Gem of Fate, 10% CDR. If he had, what, 5 more power, he probably gets that kill. But because that second item had no power on it whatsoever, ends up being just shy of the damage necessary to kill the Hunt Bats.
Panicat will solo down the Draugr for a second time. Meanwhile, the rest of his team will take down the Pyromancer. Sam, who just narrowly escaped death on that last fight, comes out on top in experience as well. Level 10 now versus Johnny's level 9. Panicat may be in trouble, though, as Johnny's rotated over, but he gets stuck on the ice carpet. Calder keeps bouncing him around, and now he's the one in danger. Panicat turning this into now a 2v2 with the rotation from Final K. Taunts in on Emil, beads immediately. Johnny gets the Cobra's Kiss into the ultimate. That will be enough to secure the damage, but now Johnny is on the run. And the minions plus Final K take him down.
Ticked down from Mystical Mail. Emilito can't lazy back there, buddy. Easiest double kill of Fine's life. That literally might be true, by the way. It was a Mystical Mail tick, and then stopping someone at 1 HP while they were back. That might truly be his easiest double kill.
And then Zero stuck around too long as well, and Sam's able to rotate to the left side of the map and pick him up. That's another big kill on for the Dragons, and look at that harsh spike in golden experience. Over 5,000 gold in the lead for the Jade Dragons, and even more experience.
And it happened quickly, too, J-Mac. I mean, 8 minutes in, this game was even. And then it was a 4-for-0 into a Gold Fury, into a kill on right, into 2 kills on left, and they've only lost 1 member throughout all of that. So the Dragons definitely abusing the Valkyries here in the early game, which is what you have to do. And I like where they've done it in particular, which is this left side and mid of the map where they're not going to be very strong.
And we'll know beads and not level 12, so he doesn't have any other relics to help him out. Sam and PBM will be able to pick that one up nice and swiftly and go for a red buff invade to boot with it. Hurrywin not going to get a refresh on his red buff. PBM will take that one, but no reason not to. He's putting out some hefty damage on this Ymir.
Hey man, his assist, his red. That's how it goes around here. You got to earn it if you're in this position, because Mike with red is very, very threatening at this point. Level 12 on this Ymir. He is higher than everyone on the Valkyries, save for Ducky. He has more XP than anyone else. That is a problem.
Telling.
To say the least.
I think it's telling of the status of the game. Immediately to the tier 2 tower of the duo lane. Jade Dragons rotate 4 members over. Final K on the opposite end. Johnny gets spotted out and pushed away. Ultimate out of Panda Cat will force Johnny to walk back. And looks like the rest of the Jade Dragons are going to go on the retreat as well. Raffer lands into the ice carpet. He's going to be bouncing around a little bit, but a wall from PBM will zone off the rest of the team and allow the Dragons to make a speedy escape.
I like this call from the Dragons. You know, try our hand. We'll knock on the door of the tier 2 tower, and if they answer, fine. We'll take what we can get. We get beads out from Johnny, and they back it up after that. They still have Final K's ultimate if they really need him.
Hurrywin now has to use the beads, and the Dragonfly pushes Johnny against the wall. Ultimate in front, Final K will do a little bit of return damage to Johnny, but ultimately he is dead to rights, and Hurrywin the one to pick him up.
Beautiful play by Hurry. He uses that Dragonfly to interrupt the first part of ambush. So he eats Johnny's jump. Johnny has nowhere to go after that. The ultimate from Fine certainly helps, but I don't even think it was necessary.
PBM will solo out the rest of the tier 1 tower, but he's in a little bit of trouble. Ducky and Zero's teaming up and gets it down to about a quarter health. Ducky leaps in, waiting for a transformation, but not going to go for it. Instead, it's the Caledonian Boar out of Emilito that will secure that kill.
Still needed 3 ultimates in order to get it done. Like you said, telling of the state of this game that Mike is able to withstand that much. Certainly not a good play to die in order to just get that tier 1.
No evil onto Zeros. He still has his beads and opts not to use them. Now with Panda Cat on rotation, Zeros has to leave as quickly as the rest of the team arrives. Oni Fury is up. Jade Dragons haven't quite set their sights to the objective just yet. Still kind of spread across the map so far here around the 14.5-minute mark.
Liked the idea there for Sam. He knows that Zeros has beads, but what's more important is that he doesn't have ultimate. So if he would have landed that Sacred Monkey Toss And he can just get very easily follow that Baba Yaga leap, and then Zeros is just 1v1 without an ultimate up against Sam, who also doesn't have an ultimate, but is going to do far more damage in that shorter period of time. So I like the play there from Sam.
Sam diving in onto Raffer, but now that Johnny's rotated through, Sam won't continue too much further. While Ducky picks up Tier 1 tower, and the Jade Dragons did get that Oni Fury. Hurrywin and Panda Cat teamed up to take down that objective, and now have set their sights towards the Greater Scorpion. We'll drop that one relatively quickly with no trouble, and maybe looking for a little bit more. Ducky gets spotted out by Hurrywin, hit with the Sigil and the Dragonflight. But Ducky, he's doing just fine under the tower for now.
For now, Sam's ultimate is coming back up. You got Mike around the back.
Blink.
Nice blink and a jump. Ducky's out of there. Well played to survive the 4-man gank. But that's not a good sign when your solo laner is going to have to make a good play to get out of a 4-man gank in 15 minutes. Even Panda Cat's on top.
Loses the Signet in the Tier 1. The Rapper does not have the same benefits. He'll get up into the Dragon. Well, his corpse will get up into the Dragon as Sam has just enough damage to end that one. Oni minions now pushing into the Tier 2 tower as well. That one will fall down. Another 1,500 gold on the board for the Dragons. Now they'll turn towards the Fire Giant and try and take that down quickly.
Shouldn't be too much of a problem for them either. Mike doesn't have his Bracer of Radiance, so they don't have that extra damage. Oh, he did.
Yeah,
it's
he's
right
got
there.
it right there in front of it. That
right
is
on
a
time.
huge power spike onto it. Ducky tries to get in time, but is a little too late. Gets hit with the Sunder, gets the transformation, but taunted right back in and taken right down. Final K getting the credit for the hit. Now Zeros on the run, but he gets caught by the ultimate from Panda Cat. Has to use the home sweet home of his own, but Calder is still chasing him down. Wow. And Panda Cat gets the kill.
What a weird build from Panda. He goes Ichaival into Devo gloves for the lifesteal, and then into crit. It is all over the place for him. But I'll tell you what, he hit Zeros really, really hard there. Sure, he's level 17 and has Fire Giant, but even the one hit hard.
Sam and Emil having a 1v1 until Final K ruins it and goes in with the ultimate. Don't think that one was necessary for it either. But regardless, Final K just trying to pump up that stat line. 7-0-6 on the solo laner.
Yeah, he's definitely stat chasing, and for a good reason, bro. I mean, 7-0-6, that's a hell of a stat line out of your solo laner, especially when you only have 16 kills. So he's been a part of 13 of 16 for the Dragons out of the solo lane. Been well timed on a lot of these ultimates. He's top of the player damage charts, and I don't think he's really trading that much in lane with Ducky. I can't imagine you are with Athena, especially with how much he's rotated. It's been a very, very good game from Final K. Look, it's been a good game from literally everyone on the Jade Dragons. They haven't been hurting for good performances in this one.
And we're now at the state of the game where PBM is able to drop ultimate for a blue buff, able to steal that one away from Ducky while the rest of his team was doing Pyromancer. The teams will regroup. And here, just shy of 18 minutes, we're looking at an 11,000 gold lead separating these two teams. And Valkyries are unfortunately no stranger to this kind of disparity. Same round in the XP, and it might only get worse now that this Fire Giant is around the Dragon's waist.
Only about 2 minutes left on the Fire Giant, and 2 minutes left until we hit the 20-minute mark. If you're the Valkyries, you're hanging on for dear life. It's not just about trying to close experience gaps. It's trying to keep this game open until the even 20-minute mark at this point. That's where we are, man. I mean, I just don't think they have the damage to withstand this siege coming from the Dragons.
4 pushing up the left side. Final K right side. PBM goes in with a wall, instantly gets stunned out by Raffer. Ultin from Final K on top of PBM for some extra protection. We'll group up all 5, but it's a Fear No Evil onto Emil. He will fall down. Raffer leaps the wrong way, and Sam picks up the double kill. Johnny on the run, but a big wall by PBM will block out Zeros, and Johnny forces the ambush out. Zeros low and with the Sunder on him will try and get away back to the safety of the fountain. The Dragons forgot that the Phoenix is still there and have to turn back around to grab it.
There's only 20 seconds until Raffer's back up. The one benefit of dying this early, but I think that they might be trying to end it pre-20.
Might be too little too late for him. Ducky gets a nice 5-man ultimate, but it's not going to deter the Dragons one bit. They are still going aggressive onto the Titan, and they will take that one down just shy of 20 minutes. Right on the 19:15 mark. That's got to be close to one of our fastest games.
Yeah, Gormizer's doing some furious typing somewhere into some sort of spreadsheet or calculator or something like that in order to figure it out. But I like the odds of that being the fastest one so far in the season. What else can you say, J-Mac? I mean, Jade Dragons win one big fight by Gold Fury where they just 4-for-0 into Gold Fury. the Scotty pick worked out well, and the counter matchup ended up really dominating the Artemis in lane. The Jade Dragons did whatever they wanted to.
And do so they did. They end up taking game number 1. We'll cut it to a break and bring it back to the desk right after.
What's up, Smite fans? Dolson here, and if you haven't already, you want to make sure you're checking out twitch.tv/SmiteGame on Mondays from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Time, because we are doing the team content days where we bring in one of your favorite SPL teams, we sit down and do all sorts of crazy content with them. We've got Emotion.
Let's go!
Holy moly, man! We've got Mifflin throwing himself at the green screen. We've got plenty of actual informative content around all of your favorite Smite players and teams themselves.
Because we weren't really thinking about like the console. We were thinking about like how can we beat the PC teams.
So make sure you tune in on Mondays from 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time to twitch.tv/SmiteGame. And hey, don't worry, if you can't catch it there, you can't catch it live, make sure to go to youtube.com/SmitePro to catch the VODs after the fact. It's a whole lot of fun. You don't want to miss it because hey, you never know what's going to happen.
Yep. That's, chat. You just gotta know who's daddy. That's just how it be, man.
That's right, shop.smiteproleague.com, your one-stop shop for all things SPL, whether it be team merchandise, including a Valkyries onesie or maybe a Dragon's arm sleeve, or you can get shirts to rep your favorite team, as well as shirts just to rep the SPL. Of course, all of that going either to support the teams or the league itself. So make sure you go to shop.smiteproleague.com, pick up a hoodie, pick up a t-shirt, a beanie. I said it already, the onesie, the hooded blanket. There's a lot of really good merch. There's shorts that are available. All very, very comfortable material. I'm excited. I think tomorrow, maybe Monday, I'm going to wear my Pride t-shirt. I know I'm very, very happy with that one. I wore that nice SPL jersey yesterday. Fits me a little tight, a little snug, but outside of that, I really like the material, and that's what matters most. So again, shop.smiteproleague.com. Thanks to Insight for partnering with us for all the fantastic merchandise. And Mifflin, I'm going to drop 2 things for you. One, we just did the math. It almost left my head. 0-16 in the last 2 games there for Johnny. And that is the fastest game so far in Phase 2. The Dragons beating their last record. The last one they set was 20 minutes, 11 seconds versus the Bolts. They beat them in Game 1 earlier this phase. This one was 19 minutes, 15 seconds here versus the Valkyries. The fastest game in Season 8 so far. Also the Dragons beating the Valkyries. It was 18 minutes, 47 seconds, so about 30 seconds faster there. It's definitely, I mean, hey, they're trying to beat their own record at this point.
These are some crazy stats, man. And you know what? Fans at home, I want you to know we are working on it. We're going to figure out what the longest death streak is in the SPL, because we know what the one this season is, or this split, rather. It's got to be Johnny, sitting at 16 deaths with no kills so far. And, well, we said it on the desk almost glibly, Gore. All he had to do to top that last performance was find one. Not quite able to do it here in Game 1.
No, well, at least doesn't get 12 deaths this time around. Isn't solo dunking people on Apollo 3 levels down 10 minutes into the game. But it got out of hand pretty quickly. Fine, okay, you had mentioned good rotations for Athena. He made use of those. And he made use of them religiously throughout this game. In fact, was found in a lot of fun scenarios. I think it's not in this moment, maybe it was this moment, where they're able to turn some kills around. Fine, okay, found himself a double kill, I think, a couple minutes into the game. Not in the solo lane, but on the other side of the map that was just... And I'll be honest, I cackled when I saw it.
I heard you didn't cackle. That's a lie. You fully screamed. I was on the other side of the building.
And then it's with the stop. Imolito is like 1 second, 0.1 second away from getting there. That's just a good play from Fine OK using the reach to get that. I mean, Mifflin, the Dragons had control.
I mean,
that's how that game went.
You broke it down, man. Games
like
I
took your job. I'm sorry.
Are so hard. I mean, you said the 3 words that I was allowed to say. I mean, Jade, Dragons, win. That's it. All that happened here. The Valkyries got ran over in the early game, and sometimes when you play Smite or any video game that's competitive, you don't get the chance to play because you got outclassed in that early facet of the game, and this time around, Jade Dragons do exactly that. It felt like the Valks legitimately at any point were not allowed to play.
Yeah, you want to talk about it, though. Scotty, 100% win rate. Unpicked this year, now rocking a...
She might sit there for a while.
100, and yeah, nobody's going to pick her again. Maybe, I don't know, you never know. What happens if Panda Cat locks her in again, the Valks win? Changes everything. You'll have to figure it out as they come through. 50%?
I figured it out.
That's not acceptable for Scotty. I'm sure Kitten of Doom. Someone just asked about it because they were like, man, who hasn't been played, or hunters that haven't been played this year? And I was like, it's just Scotty sitting alone. I know Kitten of Doom, specifically one of our Olympians, loves Scotty, so I'm sure they're happy. And yeah, Scotty's now, Ivory Hunter has been played this year. Granted, Apollo's been in the jungle a little bit more than he's been in the Hunter role, but it does keep things a little spicy and interesting for us. You might have seen it, but the swap has come through. The Dragons will be your first pick team here in game number 2. And the Valkyries have been forced to ban Tiamat more. Morgan Le Fay looked really good just now. A lot of it. Their whole team looked really good for the Dragons. Where do you start the changes?
It's play on field, man. Again, I really did love the Valhalla Valkyries draft in Game 1. I mean, they got Artemis for themselves, great initiation, Fafnir to boost them up as well. Everything could have worked. It just, unfortunately for them, did not because of how that early game pans out. So I think the Valkyries don't need to address too much here inside of P's and B's. If anything, one of the best pieces of the Jade Dragons draft was that Athena was carrying the entire game all over the map. But are you really banning Athena solo away when there are things like Morgan Le Fay, like Tiamat, the Odins, the Artemises, the Emojas of the world need to be addressed as well? There are greater evils that we have to keep our eyes on. It's hard for the Valkyries in a position like this to say, well, we got to get rid of X from this last draft because legitimately it wasn't P's and B's that lost them it.
The only ban I can see on the list that they had that to me seems like a swappable. I mean, Bologna may be an argument for it, although FinoK's been liking the Bologna a little bit more recently. Same thing for like Nika. Heimdall was also banned out, so that's somewhere that you could potentially flex it. But those are your bottom 2 bans. Like you're still having a lot that comes up right before then. 6 bans and 6 picks prior to that, so makes things a lot more complicated here. The Dragons are going to be able to take control. They banned Osiris, Gilgamesh, Fenrir last time. I wonder if any of that will change with their first pick status. The Valkyries, Yamoja, Tiamat, Odin. I can't imagine any of those change.
Well, they maybe can switch up the Odin a little bit. The Valkyries in the second pick position right now could leave something available that the Jade Dragons have to go towards, is what I was going to say, and then immediately they ban out the Odin. But in this position, the Valkyries are allowed to leave a little bit more priority available, which would give them a very strong second pick position. But, I mean, you highlighted it already, man. We might as well just run the tape back from the last P's and B's as it's going right now.
Yeah, they've changed up some of the order. Granted, Dragons are on the opposite side, but otherwise it's so far been the same bans. Fenrir was the last one. Dragons, I'd be kind of surprised. I mean, first pick, Fenrir available? I guess Morgan Le Fay is also in the game. Artemis is also in the game.
She's so good.
There's so many good things that are available for the Dragons here. The question more falls down to what they want to bring into the game, I guess, is realistically.
Yeah, last time
that's kind of what picks and bans are. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. My brain just like melted.
It's like the taco risk versus reward. All things are risk versus reward. That's how you calculate your decisions always.
Yeah.
I mean,
everything is a risk. Sometimes it's just a very like 1% risk, not a 98%.
Sometimes
risk.
It's all reward. You know, who knows? Fenrir getting removed from the game by the Jade Dragons yet again this time around. Don't want the Valkyries to pick that up inside of the second pick slot. But what does that leave available? Let's get a little bit of a roundup. Yamoja still out there. Could go towards just about anything. I mean, there's a lot of value. They could run the Athena in this first slot. I think that the Valkyries have done a good job of shoring up the must bans, but maybe Yamoja being that first pick does leave the Valkyries in a position where they could take Morgan Le Fay and a great frontliner to boot.
And that is the strength of it. They had Fafnir last time, and Fafnir fit well with the team. Didn't have a lot of wiggle room. It's hard to be a support when your team falls behind, though. And Morgan Le Fay was the mid laner you had mentioned. It was this or Raijin. Those have been kind of the top picks. Valkyries have been loving the Raijin for Zeros lately. Got a nice Fire Giant steal with it the other day as well. It's going to be Morgan Le Fay, which forces Whirlwind onto something new for this game. Granted, all of the signature Whirlwind picks are still available. It's just now the top 2 mid laners that have been kind of elbowing their way to the top and knocking any other mage out of the conversation that are now off the table for him.
Yeah, Hurry really has recently strayed away, and I'm really concerned about what we're seeing right now. This Apollo hover could spell another Apollo jungle game.
Do it again, please.
He
don't.
probably could,
but don't.
Yeah, but don't. Maybe play like he's so good at the auto attackers, man. That's what got him to the SPL, where the Bakasuras, the Erlang Shens, the Osirises, the Ao Kwongs. Let's run that. Let's see him on something comfortable. But Apollo being hovered right now for the Valkyries doesn't necessarily have to go into the jungle. Could be a Terra lock-in instead, and that does bring flex potential in her own right. Could go solo, could go support. More than likely going to be in support.
Well, I'm going to put a pause on picks and bans for a second because I thought of something. You had mentioned like we're trying to find longest deaths with no kills across games and games and games and games and games. I'm going to throw it out that SK Gaming, I believe in Season 5, so not the one that won the World Championship, the one prior to that. I'm sorry, Ducky, but it was a squad Ducky was on. 25 set loss streak. Longest in the SPL ever. I imagine that's where you can probably find someone who is going to take that. You want to talk about signature picks, though. Yamoja, Giannis, Thanatos. This is Mike, Hurry, Sam. It is just the players.
Tons of global presence, ton of sustain. Giannis is going to have so much rotation prowess, as will Thanatos with the hovering death. I like it a lot, man. I mean, it's early game pressure from both Yamoja and Thanatos. Giannis needs a little bit more time to scale. Needs to get a couple items under his belt, get that CDR rolling before he's really feeling super comfortable, and maybe a double-edged sword, considering how quick that last game was. Hurrywin might not get the opportunity to play, but maybe even more interesting is the Valkyries selection on the other side. Loki has been a consistent tool for Johnny, and I think this is a great way to get him back on track.
Some of the best Valkyries games this year have been with this Loki in the jungle, so that makes me already immensely more hopeful for what we're going to be seeing instead of that Apollo hover that we saw a little bit earlier. But you had mentioned it. First off, Dragon's halfway to a Valkyrie special already with the Jingwei ban. Could be a Sun Wukong to make sure it rolls through. The Heimdall stays true for the Valkyries and their bans, but it was the conversation, Bellona or Athena. They go for the Athena ban to make sure that Fine OK just can't do it to him again.
Yeah, no more global presence, please. We already got to worry about Yanis and Thanatos being everywhere on the map, so could be the Athena, but instead it is the Athena. You're right. Yeah, locked in.
No, yeah, that one was already there.
It was already there. I should have looked at the screen. I was too busy looking at you.
That's all I was talking about.
Yeah, good stuff, Gore. So anyway, Neath locked in. That's more global presence on the map. Valkyries going towards something a little bit interesting here. Generally, when they do lock in this Neath, it's Zeros piloting it, but
Yes,
this time
sir.
around is going to be Emilito more than likely, as Morgan Le Fay is already selected, and the Jade Dragons seem to be having a little bit of fun here.
Vamana, we haven't seen a lot. So 50% win rate, 4 games. He's 2-2 so far. He comes in occasionally, and
Is this the first SPL?
First SPL?
Is this SPL debut for the year? No, we
he's
saw it
been played.
earlier.
He's been banned and played already.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going to strip that one away from you. Got
Thanks.
nothing this game.
I'm messing up.
That got aggressive, and I don't know why. But they get the Vamana. Hey, you were talking to global presence. They get Chernobog as well.
Jeez.
And when I see this, I see a team that wants to run at you, and that's it. That's kind of the deal.
They've got good poke potential, and they can drift around these team fights. I think that it's a lot of W key. I mean, Vamana kind of one note in that sense, in that he's going to go into Colossal Fury. He's going to walk at Morgan Le Fay more than likely, and could be one of the best counter matchups into Morgan Le Fay, considering Dragonflight's a great peel tool, as is the Sigil Mastery. Well, it doesn't super work when he's a giant baby that's CC immune stomping on your skull. So I think Vamana could work out here insofar as just that matchup up against the mid laner from the Valkyries, but outside of that, Jade Dragon's team composition is not entirely one note. It's not just that they can walk at you. They control map presence. They control pressure through that rotation power. They've got great sustain thanks to Yamoja and the self-sustain of Amana, meaning that if a team fight goes long around these neutral objectives, they're likely going to be favored. The Valkyries do have a little bit of sustain in their own right thanks to the Terra, but it's not matching what Yamoja's doing.
Whoa, throw some respect to her. Neath's got some self-sustain
Yeah,
as well. in
Unravel
there.
sick.
It's not insane, but it still exists. So it'll be interesting to see. Now, because it's in very recent memory, for those of you who watched yesterday, Cyclone Spin kind of bullied Stewart. There's no other way around it.
It
With
happens.
this Chernobog, he would ult, and we'd be expecting him to jump into a team fight, and instead of going to the team fight, he went to lane, and he just made sure that his opposing hunter
4-level
couldn't
lead.
exist in there. Do you see that happening? I mean, Neath is maybe the easier of the hunters, like easiest of all the hunters to track down. You know where backflip's going every time it goes off. You know she doesn't have any mobility other than that. She's got some CC and decent damage, but this feels like we could see Panda Cat do something similar.
Yeah, Neath's backflip being so predictable, even though it does recently get a buff to the speed of it, is pretty hard to use as an escape tool. I mean, if Chernobog's ulting at you, you're getting that at slow applied. You land from the backflip. He's just walking you down with the root. There's a great stim in Chernobog's kit as well. So as far as the 1v1 goes, maybe favoring Chernobog if he's able to establish a lead early on, but getting that lead is going to be difficult. Neath is a very safe pick. As you already highlighted, in lane specifically, has a great bit of self-sustain. I mean, Unravel, a little bit of a meme inside of jungle team fights, but inside of the lane itself, it's a lot of minions you can heal off of. And recently, I think it was tail end Season 7, maybe early Season 8, Unravel gets a pretty large boon, a buff to the amount of attack speed it takes away from your opposition as well. Maybe Chernobog struggles a little bit.
It could be fun. That being said, Chernobog does have the self-stem, right, to give himself some attack speed. So maybe it just balances out overall in the middle, and then it gets to be a boxing match, and that could be fun to watch. You had mentioned it. Giannis, as someone that has been nerfed a little bit more recently, some of his items were nerfed away, and so it not only took him a little while to get online, but now some of those things aren't, even though they're necessary for the build, aren't necessarily as good as they were. I think his ult as well has taken some damage hits. Is Heroin still going to be able to keep up as well with a Morgan Le Fay?
Well, if anyone's going to do it,
you're right,
it's
Hurriwin.
going to be Hurriwin. I mean, it's one of his favorite picks. But I think it is very worth noting that Staff of Myrmidon, the change to that item, maybe helps a ton of the cast as far as the mages go. But Yanis, I wouldn't consider one of them. Now has 40% uncapped CDR rather than just allowing you to double cast an ability post-ultimate, meaning that Yanis, which is a god that has struggled on defense, has struggled in the ability to find that burst consistently, in the past was able to use that ultimate to engage through space and time and then just drop a double unstable vortex. Pretty hard to argue against that amount of just raw AoE damage, but now has to sparse that out a little bit more. It takes a little bit longer to get all that damage through. So instead, I think it's going to be a bit more of a CDR focus in the build, and maybe we see something like a Soul Gem, a Soul Reaver to help out with that burst.
All right. So I just have to give you this timer because it's just so wild to me. This is the message I just got. So still waiting for stats on longest death streak, right? But Johnny has an average death time of 3 minutes 33 seconds, while Mifflin, you have an average death time of 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
What are you doing,
overall,
bro?
the SB. I'm reading the message.
This isn't just the facts. Talk about the game. Look, the team's up. Throw it.
Hey, Dragons and Valkyries, game number 2. We're going to see what happens here as we go down to the casters.
Man, he just kind of called him out on that one.
I'm mad. I want to hear more of what Gore was about to say, J-Mac.
It almost sounded like he was complimenting him, saying that Johnny has a longer death timer than
that
Mifflin.
is
So
what it sounded
There is
like.
a compliment to there. I was waiting for the backhand onto it, but no, it's just going to be, hey, Mifflin, you're doing better than Johnny has as far as death timer goes onto it. J-Mac Tucker and Aggro joining me with Doug on the camera. Game number 2. Very quick game number 1 there. Almost the season record for it. A little shy onto it. About 30 seconds too long onto it, though. We didn't get a stat check on the fastest fire giant of the season. That around 16 minutes, I think, is what it was last game.
Yeah, it's we're hoping for a closer one here from the Valkyries, and I think that they've drafted well enough to give it to us. I mean, you get Zero's the Morgan Le Fay. Definitely an upgrade over that Baba Yaga in mid. Can definitely scrap a little bit earlier. And that was really the problem for them in game 1. Johnny on this Loki, I love. This is his pick, man. He's got to make it work, and this was the pick that was banned from him so often. That being said, it is a little bit late game still. It's not necessarily the earliest pressure god, but still really, really solid for him. I like this draft a lot more.
Ouch to both of them. As Zeros is down to half, and Johnny found Sam in the jungle and down to about 20% HP onto there. PBM again going with strange stuff over here, looking towards maybe a Lotus Crown tier 1 start and a Warrior's Axe for his starter item.
Yeah, that is not what I was expecting out of the Yemoja. So Mike, gonna do more damage and be a little bit tankier, but will not have that extra gold income that you really need in support. I'm wondering how well he's gonna be able to keep up with Raffer on the other side. Take a look at his XP per minute already in that bottom left. Not too far behind, but behind of Raffer through the first, 3 waves.
Hurriwind is playing Gatekeeper of the Jungle right now. We saw him aggressively portal towards the red buff just to watch Johnny go to the jungle, just to keep vision on a Loki of all things at level 2. This isn't like he's level 20 trying to track him down. He's only level 2 on this Giannis. 3 now.
Definitely some theory crafting here going on and some aggressiveness from the Jade Dragons for sure. But hey, this is what it's about, you know, testing those limits and finding your opportunities on how you think you can get away with stuff. For, you know, Mike thinking maybe I don't want Warrior's Axe on Yemoja, but if I see a good Hercules game, can I afford to go Warrior's Axe instead of something like Sentinels? Those sorts of things and testing in real games like this is good, but certainly risky.
Zeros. It's a nice little hole. Not a nice little, a huge chunk of damage there from the combo of Sam and Hurriwind. Luckily gets out with his life onto that, has tier 1 tower to save his back for it. That sets up for an aggressive invade towards the red buff. Sam immediately starts beelining that way. Mike not going to be able to steal the purple, and luckily has that backflip to secure it.
But I know an easy red buff invade. I like this answer though from Johnny. Go on over to Soul Lane. You should be able to get a lot of this jungle, though Sam is on the way, so actually he'll only get blue and these mini harpies. Don't think he can go for the actual regular backs because Sam's blink is coming back up. This would be a risky endeavor.
Sam does have his Death Scythe available to him shortly, looking for a great line against Johnny. He's already thrown the decoy, he's used his invis, blinks around the wall just to try and catch him out. A couple basics, misses the Scythe, and Hurrywin gets feared away, has to use the beads instantly because of the mid laner, but Johnny able to get that stealth to get out temporarily, but there's a portal from Hurrywin, still looking for him, needs one more basic or the Death Scythe to get him.
Got him.
Basic will be enough to do it. Sam strikes first blood.
And that's just a bad decision by Johnny. I mean, we're seeing it all the way, and of course we have the benefit of the overhead spectator, but I don't think we had information that Johnny didn't in that moment. That Sam was there, he was coming in, he had everything up. He should know his blink timer from when he used it on him on right side mid Harpies. I know that I'm not stronger than him, and I don't have blink, so if he wants to chase me, I really can't get away from him effectively. The fact that he lived as long as he did is just thanks to Sam missing that first Death Scythe, but Sam knew that it was only a matter of time until he chased him down and killed him anyways because of a nice portal from Hurrywin, which we're going to say that a lot today if I had to guess. Definitely a bad decision there from the Valks jungler.
If there's two things that I've learned playing in mid, it's that there's two gods whose abilities really chunk in the first 4 or 5 levels of the game. That's a Wheelish with her Feather Step.
Yep.
Maybe not as hard as he used to, but still very hard. And Thanatos with Death Scythe.
Yep.
And if you're already falling behind on the Loki, I don't think trying to fight into someone over-leveled on that Thanatos is a great call for it. Rapper gets spotted out into the middle of the jungle. He needs to ult by PBM, gets away from the stun with that second dash, and will be able to get out with his live Hurrywin. A little close there, a little too high on that shot.
Close, but no cigar for Hurry, but a nice play from Mike using that extra damage from his Warrior's Axe procs and get some extra sustain from it as well, so you end up staying pretty healthy, and uses that and nearly finds the kill onto Raffer, double sundered him, dropped the ultimate, had him locked in, but Panda Cat maybe a little slow to get over to help.
Mike, again, trying to steal purple away. Backflip from Emil and the beads expended. They'll secure the purple buff, but Emil loses out on quite a bit for it.
It's not a bad idea there by the Jade Dragons, continuing to try and push it on this left-hand side. I mean, you've got the Emoja, this Terra, really good whenever she has her ultimate, but without it, really not a threatening character at all, especially up against characters with mobility. And you end up being in a position where you can really afford to play aggressively, and I love that they continue to do so.
They're definitely playing aggressively. Maybe a little too aggressive there for Emil. He has to backflip under his tower. Will the bubble be distance? He stops his back just to make sure he's out of range for it. Looking across the way into the mid lane, Hurrywin goes to the conduit gem. We've basically not seen it at all outside of Giannis play pretty much, and outside of just Hurrywin onto it. But also Pythagram's piece is a first item.
Yeah, I'm kind of a notorious Pythags hater, J-Mac. I really don't like building it in my games, but there's a big difference between ranked and competitive. And in competitive, giving your team an aura, power, and lifesteal boost, really good. And the build had to change for Giannis because of what Mifflin was saying about Staff of Mirrodin on the desk, that was a core item for him, now no longer really fits into what he really wants to do in his identity. So you got to find something. He gets an early 10% pen from this item. It does make him so he doesn't do as much damage.
Sam going to get stunned and ult in from Zeros. Sam gets a nice bit of heal. And fine, okay, not able to block that one for him. Sam will fall down here. Ducky able to pick up the kill with the ultimate. Ult in by Hurrywin as well. Johnny very low, manages to narrowly squeak by the unstable Vortex. But Hurrywin and fine, okay, they're on the hunt, falling through the portal. Has to use the Purification Beads. Unstable Vortex though, just needed another second to come up, and Hurrywin able to secure one with fine, okay. Now stuck in the middle of 3 of them. He's taking a lot more damage and he's healing back, but he's got the support of PBM. He's got a huge ultimate down. Will crash the waves down and take down Zeros. Maybe even find more, but with the wall coming through, not going to be enough. Ducky doesn't have any escapes left, and Hurrywin cleans it up.
What a play by Fine to come in and corral, literally like a shepherd, everyone towards Polar Bear Mike, who then finds a perfect ultimate with the Sunder on top of it. Definitely a bit unfortunate there for Sam that some miscommunication between him and Fine. Okay, someone's got to stand still. You know, you both can't be moving, and that ends up being pretty problematic. But I don't know if Sam would have ultimately lived anyways with Ducky's ultimate coming up. Probably gets chased down. Sam didn't have his ultimate up. Ends up being a kill for the Valhalla Valkyries, but
Well, Johnny does have the ultimate, so he'll be able to get out, but he loses out on quite a bit for it, mostly his health. Purification beads were already down, so luckily not quite enough damage and backup just yet. Luckily for him, Hurrywin didn't have that ultimate. Otherwise, I think that would have been a death.
Oh, Emilito gets rooted and has to beads right away. Panda Cat, I feel like he's been hitting so hard on this Chernobog. Like, I don't know, unreasonably so through this part of the game. And when, that's not going to get a whole lot less. You know, it's really the other way around. This Chernobog's only going to continue to get stronger and stronger. Panda Cat definitely feeling it today. He had a really, really good Scotty game. I've loved his aggressiveness so far in this Chernobog as well.
PBM will help Hurrywin clear out into the mid lane, and Hurrywin will just go back and get some farm, get some aggression here towards the mid side. Raffer going to throw out the monolith so he doesn't fall through that portal, luckily for him. But still, just going to stay grouped back. Raffer just can't even walk forward against these two. It seems that as long as Mike is standing anywhere within range of him, Raffer just has no initiation onto him.
So XP per minute, Mike is not only ahead of Raffer, but ahead of Johnny as well. Raffer eats a portal, and there's all the damage. Where is Sam? He's up.
Up into the sky, Link to the XQ. Not enough of a heal to save his life. He will be taken down by Sam, but Sam may fall into the process to Johnny. River's Rebuke comes out, stun off the mark, so Johnny will escape for now, but he falls into the portal. Gotta watch your feet, Johnny. And Hurrywin needs just one more ability to take him down, or one more basic, but they can't find it. Johnny on the run. Not sure if he'll be able to make it out of here, but he is taking a deep path to try and escape.
I don't think he should, though. He's got a health pot ticking. Mike's got eyes on him that he's still running straight down, and Johnny at this point should actually be out. Maybe dying to tower is the right call, dying to duo lane tower, because you know Hurrywin has pretty good chase potential here.
Hurrywin will go through the wall with his portal and will spot out Johnny into the midst of it. Unstable Vortex off the mark, but Mike spotted him out. Fortunately, Johnny's got some nice juke boots and looks like he may just get out, but Panda Cat isn't in the same boat as him. He'll fall down on a greedy purple buff invade.
Sam's got blink, so he knows where Johnny is. But with this many people here, yeah, Johnny's out, so good pathing from him. And to get Panda Cat is big. I mean, Emilito 1-0-1 has been relatively untouched over here in this duo lane. Until now.
Oh, blink in onto Emil. Immediately up into the sky goes Sam, looking for the execute. Emilito, not enough health on it, and that'll be an easy pick there for Sam. Raffer may be in trouble as well. He gets silenced down. Another dead side. Big basics out of Sam, and the monolith blocks him just for a short while. Sam not willing to commit going under the tower with Polar Bear Mike, and Raffer will make it out for now.
So I guess we know now that Sam is not dedicated to the triple-double, because that was really, I mean, that's the ideal triple-double scenario. They're underneath their tower. You think you can kill them, but you'll die for it. I mean, that's the best way to get them. But I guess we know where Sam's priorities lie, and it's like winning the game or whatever instead of
not
trying
dying.
to have the second ever triple-double.
Final K has to use the Colossal Monolith to get himself out of danger. Panda Cat rotates in with his ult, roots Johnny in place. Johnny down under half health. Final K will spot him out, but not much further follow-up onto it, and that sets up for Gold Fury on the flip side. Raffer will maybe spot out that through space and time that crashed in, realize too late that the Gold Fury goes the way of the Dragons.
Not a whole lot the Valks can do at that point with 3 people grouped up, having plenty of damage. Have to try and give that one up. So 5,000 almost for the lead for the Jade Dragons, 4,500, a little over 4,000 experience. The good news, in a way, is that the experience is pretty spread throughout the Jade Dragons. Sometimes you want it to be all on one person that you can maybe just avoid in the team fights, or we can try and pick them and all of a sudden we get a big lead off of it. That's not the case here for the Dragons. And that's both a good and a bad thing for what I was just saying. So at least it's not one person way stronger. It's everyone is marginally stronger than their opposition.
Panda Cat with that solid ward placement earlier spotted out Emilito waiting in the wings. Hurrywin will take a decent bit of damage from Raffer, but now Raffer's the one who's caught in the midst of them. Portal falls down, but no one falls through. Raffer still on retreat as PVM unrelenting in the jungle, making sure to continue pushing the Valkyries back towards their side of the map, or maybe just further back on the map more than anything, because it just feels like this jungle belongs to the Dragons.
And why wouldn't it? Mike's level 11, that is the biggest lead that anyone has individually over their lane opposition, but the mobility that the Jade Dragons have between the Giannis and the Thanatos and the Chernobog, it's difficult to run away from this team So they can, but it's easy for the Jade Dragons to run away from the Valkyries. So if things get a little hairy in the enemy side jungle, fairly easy for the Jade Dragons to disengage, where the Valks don't really have that luxury.
5,000 gold in the lead for the Dragons here at 13 minutes. They got 3 kills up. Johnny gets spotted out by PBM. He'll drop the decoy and a little bit of damage and immediately have to stealth away. PBM drops the rivers and Raffer's forced to dash away. Ducky gets stunned out in the process of it. Hurrywin gets pushed by Ducky. He has to use the war cry. Dunk down from Sam. Needs one more basic. Panda Cat will be the one who grabs that. Now Raffer stuck in the middle of 3. Up as a big baby goes fine okay and we'll bat him down with the help of Sam for soccer. Now Zeros running back towards his tier 2 tower, and Fine OK is happy to dive in, or at least tank up the tower for Sam and PBM to try and get the kill on top of that.
And Fine OK will get it and will survive as well. 46 HP in a dream for Fine OK. So he survives, Zeros does not. And that's the real reason that I think we see this Vamana pick, is because I don't know how Morgan Le Fay really gets away from something like Vamana.
Johnny tries to pick a fight with Panda Cat, but Mike is right next to him, and they'll spot out Johnny. He's got to make another retreat. Will he get out a second time? Cue the Benny Hills theme and see if he can make it out, and there won't be too much chase onto it. He manages to squeak right by.
Yep, stealth pretty good, even if it's not as good as it used to be. Still can see him a little bit now, whereas it used to be purely invisible, but still enough in order to get Johnny out of that danger. Want to do a quick check-in on Mike with this build. He is top player damage with the Asimilja. Building full support. I mean, Lotus Crown has some power on it, but it's a very common support item for Yemoja. He's going Thebes. I'd expect him to go damage with his next item. Can we check his gold, please, Doug? The net worth is where I want to see where Mike is, because I feel like if he's going to fall behind, it's got to be in net worth. And he is lower than you would expect for how far ahead the team is, but he's still up 900 gold over Raffer, and he's basically tied with Johnny and only 500 gold down from Zeros. So Mike would probably have more gold income if he had the Sentinels, but he certainly wouldn't be doing quite this much damage. And I'm really curious. I've been thinking about it this whole time. The interaction of health and mana restore for the Warriors. I wonder how it works.
Oh, that wall's so good from Polar Bear, Mike, but not going to catch Zeros in it for too long. Panda Cat dunks down, and so does Sam under the tower. Zeros trying to run away, but who's going to get the shot? It will be Hurrywin with the unstable vortex. Johnny gets spotted out into the jungle. He's got to use the stealth just to try and get away. Panda Cat is throwing a flurry of basic attacks to find him. Dashes into the wall for the extra dash and the extra kill. Big double on the board for Panda.
3-1-4 for him now, and cruising in this game as his rage is fully stacked. Crit build coming from this Chernobog, and he's rolling pretty well. So I don't know how much it's luck with a full stacked range.
400 damage from that unstable onto Emil, and Sam's going to get rooted inside the tower. Has a little bit of sustain up for himself. Hurrywin has the portal back into the jungle. Emil is chasing Sam, but he's got Panda Cat and Hurrywin right behind him. They don't even need that. Sam will just wait for him to walk around the corner and clothesline him with the scythe.
That is tough, bro. That is tough for Emilito. I think he makes the right play for what it's worth. I think going in there is his best out because he's trying to trade a kill. At the very least, he knows he's dead underneath that tier 1. Ends up trying to make a play and force Sam to hit his buttons, and Sam hits it, so he dies, but at least you force him to make the play.
Ducky around the back, but too late to try and steal the Fury away. Instead, he'll have to blink through space and time, clips him, and that'll set up a nice portal arrangement to try and lock down the solo laner. He'll get caught out, jump into the middle of 5, and right into his death. And Hurrywin will be the one who gets it.
It's kind of weird that Hurrywin's still pretty good on this Giannis. I don't know. I know not a lot of people are playing it anymore, but he still seems awfully comfortable.
Zeros, he's going to get a little bit of sustain back through, but Sam doesn't care about that. He's got more than enough damage to take him down. That Brawler's making sure that healing coming out of the ultimate not going to be enough, and all that was the setup for the Fire Giant. Jade Dragons pick that up. Johnny comes right out of the stealth into the ultimate, and hey, he'll finally get his 3rd kill onto the board. Actually, I didn't even notice he's got 3 on the board onto this Loki.
Yeah, but he ends up dying for it. Still a good trade for him, no doubt, as Panda Cat tries to chase down Emil. No relics, see ya. No chance you're living through that. Very difficult.
He had half his health, and then that basic hit, and then it was gone.
And then he did no longer at half his health. Well, he's level 18, crit him. Yeah, it's just generally hard to live as a backliner against a composition with Giannis, Thanatos, Chernobog and Vamana. That's all dive. Oh, and Yamoja who can solo you. Like, what do you do, man? I don't know.
Yamoja, who was at top player damage at one point, still sitting at 10,000, which is only 1,000 under your team's top damage, by the way. Ducky, the only one above anyone on the side of the Dragons at 11.2k. A lot of that is solo lane damage, though, so you can kind of call that, not just free damage or whatever. It doesn't count, whatever you want to say onto it, but Zeros is not having a fun time. PBM is in the backside of his jungle, gets the Aegis out of him in the process of it, and that Aegis isn't going to save him for too much longer. Mike able to clean that kill up and take him down.
Mike took the portal in and now no longer has the ultimate, but Emilito gets a contest with Vamana, and as Vamana says, who's small now?
Well, the Titan's a little bit bigger than the Vamana onto it, but they don't care about the Titan just yet. They care about the Phoenix. Hurry when portal's out, and the rest of the team are on the backside. Emil walks back in and meets FineOK, who's going to take him back down. Still needs a couple more shots to do it. Sam dunks in the back line and doesn't find anybody, but FineOK does manage to find Emilito. Johnny has to run, use the stealth just to get away for the time being, and now Ducky is a victim for FineOK as he'll knock him up and get the final basic. Double kill for the solo laner.
Just like Vamana says, who's small now, right, J-Mac? It's just too easy for him at this point. Sam has to contend with Johnny, who does still have his ultimate, so Johnny gets himself to even on the KDA, but the Dragons did not appreciate that, it turns out, and will summarily punish the enemy jungler. Only 2 members here to try and defend this left side Phoenix.
They were not happy about that. Zeros throws a nice sigil to zone FineOK away for a short while. No minions into the Phoenix just yet. Basics are a little weaker, but finally they'll pour in and they can take down that left side burst. It's 2 Phoenixes down. And FineOK into the Colossus. He'll take down another one and diving up towards the fountain. He's more than happy taking those trades to push them away, and the rest of the team not even caring. They're just letting him stay up there.
Ducky blinks in, and Panacat uses his beads preemptively. Ducky didn't even have the ultimate ready to go, and Panda has no choice but to turn around and crit them for 1 million.
Through the portal and to the fountain he will go as Panacat cleans up the kill. Polar Bear Mike will just zone them with that ultimate. Emil has to use both of his relics just to have a little bit longer time before he falls back down. Raffer will make it back to the fountain for now, as well as Johnny. I'm actually kind of surprised Panacat didn't throw more basics into it. Instead, they'll turn their sights towards the Titan. Johnny's looking his sights on Panacat, who's very low. So is FineOK. Johnny picks up 1. But the Titan is at such low health and will reset. The Dragons, they're going to have to back away for now.
All right, fellas, look, I'm all for getting the kills, but you can't not end if you're going to go for the kills, right? You can go for as many kills as you want, as long as you're still going to end when it's all said and done. But the Dragons do not do that. But that's okay, J-Mac, because it gives me a moment to tell you this great joke that I thought of.
Okay.
You know, this set has reminded me a lot of a secret Vamana voice line. You know, sometimes Vamana ults.
Right.
And he says, "Stompa, stompa." Just like the 2 games of the set. Stompa, stompa. You're getting it? You're getting it.
I'm picking up what you're throwing down onto here. Jade Dragons, they're looking for the Fire Giant as the buff has now fallen off their waist and will set to spawn here in just a few moments. Mike has once again gone for this Bracer of Radiance, picked up for a 2nd relic this time around, and already has it fully upgraded, so he gets the benefit of a Sentry Ward.
A Sentry Ward, baby. Look, the Bracer of Radiance has been popping off. And it's really good in situations where you're going to be going around Fire Giant. You get to just dip your toe in it, because it's a fairly long buff, and then immediately head back to it, you know, use it to poke, then come back, refresh it, do fire, puts more constant threat on fire than something like Frenzy, which is a full commit to fire right at once.
Wait, so I just thought about it. So if he's got the Relic Dagger and drops some of the cooldown onto the Relic, it stays on the ground 90 seconds. And you have 2 of them on the ground at the same time if you have that Relic Dagger.
Interesting. I don't know.
And then if that's the case and you throw it on top of another one, do they stack? That's something we'll have to find out.
I would be very surprised if they do stack. I would assume they don't. I would assume they don't stack. But it's possible that you could have 2. I don't know. Let's see if Mike puts another one down when it's up at 10 seconds.
He'll top the Fire Giant first before he drops another Bracer. FineOK is having a laugh back here with Raffer and Ducky. He'll dash away and gets rooted out by Emily too, but here comes through space and time right through the wall to bring the rest of the team to them. Into the Colossal Fury he'll go and bat away at Emil, who falls through the portal and straight to his death as hi-rez takes him down. Raffer gets stunned into the back line. Final K still chasing, and all the while Panic Cat found Zeros on the opposite side of the map where none of the rest of the action is going through. Jade Dragons took them a few extra minutes this time around, but they'll close this one out swiftly in just 23 minutes.
Just an easy performance here from the Jade Dragons. I mean, look, the Valkyries, we understand their situation. They've been struggling. The Jade Dragons, they look like they're back on the up and up. Played really well up against the Atlantis Leviathans earlier this week. Maybe locking in with just a few weeks to go before the Phase 2 playoffs.
Yeah, the Dragons are going to make a quick set here of the Valkyries. Not much of a chance for them to fight back into it. A little bit of fight from Johnny this time around, but it's not going to be enough for the Valkyries to be able to pick up a set onto this one. So Dragons, they'll close this one out. We're going to take it to a desk to close it out for this set. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Welcome back, everyone, as the Dragons stand tall? Do dragons stand tall? I guess they do in this case because
Like
they just
Western
got a
dragons.
2-0. Yeah,
But these are the Jade dragon. They don't have legs.
they don't have legs?
No.
So
That makes
hover
them
tall.
scary. All right, you know what? I know this is tangential. I'm so sorry.
Go for it.
Here's the thing about how Eastern dragons are so much scarier than Western dragons.
They don't got legs.
Because like, how are they doing it, bro? How are they flying? They don't have wings. How are they moving? They don't have legs. It breaks the laws of physics and therefore adds an air of mysticism, if you would. I'm sorry. I know we're
you're
doing
right,
Smite.
and they're great firebenders, as it turns out. We learned from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Which, by the way, I don't think you can still get the skins, but the Stranger Things battle pass is still
Boom.
out there. So boom, we look. I turned
Tied
it
it
from
in.
tangential to realistic. The dragons, though, are the ones who float above everything. They don't have the legs to stand on, and it doesn't matter because they find a 2-0 over the Valkyries here. Mifflin. Second verse, a little slower than the first. That's about the only difference. They took the song, they stretched it out a little bit, but ultimately it has the exact same chorus.
It's so hard to do death segments for games like this, right? Because it's pretty one note. It's just that
hey guys,
one
the
team
Dragons won.
kind of dominated,
You
right?
saw it,
Jade
right?
Dragons from minute zero dictated the pace, controlled the objectives, stole buffs, controlled neutrals as well, and generally, I mean, that's all that happens. It sounds like buzzwords, but that's because that's what happened. That's just all that happened. Jade Dragons dominate this time around, and, well, the Valhalla Valkyries do have some silver linings, I'd say, Gore. I mean, Johnny found a kill.
Yeah, he got some kills this game. They looked a little more proactive. Ultimately, they did look better than game number 1. Unfortunately, that wasn't a very high bar to jump over for them. They didn't set it too high there. But ultimately, they did find themselves a little bit more progress. Again, Aggro had kind of put it best. There's definitely been more issues that plague this team than I think we've seen for literally any other team, and definitely has been a struggle for them to overcome. And so we'll see how they can continue pushing in the envelope throughout the rest of Phase 2, and of course in Phase 3, when things really start to matter there, and Worlds presidings start to take over. Right now, though, trying to fight out of the bottom 2, well, we'll look at the other side and just talk about the Dragons. The Dragons are looking to fight into the top 2, and this is a great way to do that.
Yeah, I mean, great start, right? Taking out the Valhalla Valkyries. I got to say
No,
it,
just getting another win.
Yeah, just another win in general. Panic Hat's so toxic for that.
Well,
this is an
Breznov,
SPL
remember we
match.
had
Yeah, that
this
was
conversation
Breznov. Yeah,
already.
Panic Hat wouldn't do that. Breznov, though, definitely does do that. He's that guy.
He's that guy. I would expect you needed to go on longer. I was trying to type an interview question.
Oh, my bad. So Panic Hat is that guy. He's a little bit toxic. I'm gonna talk for a little bit.
There we go.
Gore Miser gets ready for his interview questions.
got it.
Oh, you all right?
Yeah, that's it? You're just cutting
Yeah,
off?
let's go.
Okay, hey, well, cool. We've got Fino K standing by for the interview. Fino, I mean, obviously there's some fun that was had in that set for you guys. I'm just going to ask you first and foremost. Game 1, you get to play the Athena solo. There's some fun plays from that. You also lock in the Scotty. Is that something that you're playing a little more regularly on, or is this a one-off for us?
I don't know. I mean, I talked about it. I said it earlier on, I think, in the mid-season patch, but some of the changes recently kind of opened up the God pool, I think, a lot for both side lanes. And I made a sarcastic kind of tweet about, or facetious tweet about this. I was put on this earth to play metas like this, and I'm kind of kidding, but I do like metas like this where you can play a lot of different stuff. And of course, if you watch my YouTube channel, then you know that I like to play a lot of different stuff. So, youtube.com/dudeonfawns, find OK Smite on YouTube, whatever you know.
Let's go.
And while you're at it, go ahead and follow Find OK on Twitch just in case. You need to make sure you're everywhere and anywhere. Catch the Dragon
What's his Twitter?
when they're live. What's his Twitter? It's Find OK. You have an underscore at the end.
Yeah,
it's right
I
in
do.
front of me. It's literally right there, Mifflin.
What's his Facebook?
Okay, anyway.
Facebook. That was hacked by some Russians or something. I don't know.
Oh, no. Well, don't follow him on Facebook. That's bad. Either way, you guys are on a pretty good set streak as of right now. You get a nice 2-0 right here. Moving forward, next week you're going to be playing the Warriors and the Bolts. What's on, again, your mind moving into these last few weeks?
Well, we've kind of had a rocky phase, but we're super focused on just playing well in the tournaments and everything like that. You're sort of laughing, but just playing well for the tournaments and making sure that we're ready for those. Obviously, the playoffs are really important, but also just getting ready for the entire year going into Worlds, because obviously that's our main goal. So, we're just trying not to get too low with the lows and not too high with the highs. So
just coast on through until it genuinely has to, get to the point, I guess. Hurry had mentioned that you guys weren't as focused on standings as much as you are just making sure you're close-knit. So it sounds like everybody's on the same page, and that's a good thing as we move forward. Thanks for your time, man. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
And remember, that's fine okay with an underscore. It was on the screen there. That one got me twice. I started laughing during like a genuine answer, and I feel bad about it. Either way, the Dragons win 2-0 Mifflin. It sounds like they've got everything pretty much planned out. I mean, they know what is ahead for them. They know it's not necessarily an easy road. I'm sure there's a little bit of revenge wanted there against the Bolts after the 2-1 defeat they were handed earlier this phase. But other than that, they're doing exactly what they need to look good for playoffs.
Yeah, a great mentality. I think the Jade Dragons really do have their head on their shoulders and now find themselves firmly at 7-3, so that third seed slot is just going to sit with them.
The Kings right now trying to make a run for first. They're 7-2, the Dragons 7-3. The next game the Kings play will be tomorrow, as it turns out, at the very beginning of the day. Scarabs taking on the Kings, and I have to imagine that the Scarabs are trying to bounce back a very, very large amount after yesterday. They got a kill onto Layers that looked really, really phenomenal, and that is the one kill I remember from the Scarabs yesterday, and that speaks wonders about that set. Of course, the Bolts will take on the Titans tomorrow as well, but that is not all that we have for today.
There's more?
That was a fast set, just a little over an hour and a half. But we are moving to more. Wow! I know, Mifflin's face is perfect for this. We're going to the Leviathans and the Warriors, who are going to be going up next. So stay tuned, stick around, and we'll be right back.